In this video, we're going to focus on the claims themselves. So we're going to go ahead and click on Claims Connection and then Workspace. And then we're going to search for our claims either via the Search Claims ribbon or the Dashboard ribbon. And full details on that are in a previous video. So watch one of those other videos. I'm going to use the dashboard and I'm going to click on Rejected Not Worked. And once I do that, all of my claims are going to appear at the bottom of the screen. So I'm just going to scroll down to get to the claims that I have searched for. And now I'm going to get a screen that looks like this. Now, obviously, in the real world, for you, these columns will not be blurred out, but that's patient data and HIPAA is real, so I can't show you that. But as we go from left to right, you can see we've got our worked column. We'll talk about that in a bit. Patient, claim number, patient name, date of service, total amount of the charges, the receive date, so the date that the claim was submitted, the payer, both the payer number and the payer name. Then you would see the subscriber ID or the policy number, both the billing and the rendering NPIs, eMEDIX trace number, which is their internal claim number, and then our claim status. So you'll see we have three different kind of versions of rejected. We're going to talk about each of them, but we've got rejected, rejected eligibility, and rejected billing rule. So let's go ahead and start with rejected eligibility, which is the most straightforward of all of them. So I go ahead and this claim's in a rejected eligibility status. If I click on this little drop down arrow at the far left hand side, it shows me the details on basically all of the activity on the claim. And then I can see here it's rejected by Cigna because the entity was not eligible for benefits for the submitted date of service. So rejected eligibility means they don't have coverage. So this is not necessarily something that you can fix in Medisoft. You have to go ahead, obviously, and either drop it to a statement, call the patient, whatever way you're going to go about getting the updated insurance information. But when you're done with whatever it is you're going to do to address this claim, you're going to go ahead and you see we've got this worked column. You're going to put a check in that box. So that indicates to the system that you have worked this claim and you don't need to deal with it again. So if you remember on our dashboard, we had selected rejected, not worked. So we were looking at claims that were in a rejected status, but where worked had not been checked. Or if I was using the claim search, once again, I had filled in rejected, and then for status, I picked not worked. So that's because when I finish dealing with a claim, I mark it worked, so it's done, and it doesn't come up in my search again. All right, next up is going to be a rejected billing rule claim. Now, this is a claim where the clearinghouse itself has some internal rules that it has created to help you know that things are wrong with your claims faster. In this case, we can see that it is rejected because of a detailed description of service. And then here it shows me the loop and segment, that have caused it. And the data is J3301. So that's a procedure code that requires an additional description. It's got to go in a special field in Medisoft, and it is not filled in. So if we let this claim go through, when I get my EOB in however long that will be, it would be rejected by the payer because it didn't have that information. But this way, because of these billing rules that are built into the system, the clearinghouse is going to tell me right away so I can fix it. And rather than waiting a week or two to not get paid, I can fix it now and then I can get paid. So these are built into the system. Now, if you decide you don't want to, abide by that rule, you want to let the claim go through anyway, you would just go ahead and click on the words here for rejected billing rule, and then there is a release button. And release means I want to let it go anyway. All right, so if regardless of what message you've gotten in here, you want to send the claim onto the payer anyway without fixing it, you're going to go ahead and you're going to hit the release button. I will tell you, I personally don't really recommend it. we've seen some situations where we've got great big claims for office visits and they've got like injections and drugs that are going to pay 80 cents and we're missing an NDC code and we can't seem to get it. Maybe then I'd release it anyway, because it's not worth the 80 cents to sit on it. You can fix it later. But other than that, if it's something that's truly wrong, I would not release it. All right, and then last up are our standard rejected claims. These are going to be claims that have been rejected either by the clearinghouse itself or by the insurance company. And I did want to show you this particular rejection, this specific rejection, mainly because I don't love the way it's explained on the message. And so I want to tell you exactly what it is. You'll notice it says missing or invalid information, value of N404 is incorrect, value US cannot be sent, invalid data is US, US being the country. US is the valid data in that circumstance. That is what we should send as the country. It's not actually the country that's wrong. It's the address itself is wrong. And it just so happens that the US is the last part of the address that it hits. So that's what it says is invalid because it's the last part of the address that it checks. I've seen situations where we've got a lot of wrong states where, so like a zip code and a state don't match each other. That's probably the most common thing. I've seen a few where we've got lots of extra spaces in the address, so that caused it to not recognize the address as being valid. It's checking it against like the USPS registry. So when it says invalid data US, it doesn't mean the country itself is wrong because it's not. It means the address is wrong. So the patient address is wrong. And that's that particular rejection message. As you can see, like in this case, I have a variety of rejections. You just click on the arrow to go ahead and view the message. Then you're going to go ahead and you're going to fix it in Metasoft. And then you'll come back here and you'll check the box to mark the claim worked. Once it's done, and you go ahead and refile it. All right. So those are 3 types of rejections. And you look at the details on the rejection by hitting the little drop down arrow here. Alternatively, you could hit either the message or the 4 buttons here, and that like opens the whole claim up on the screen and takes over the whole screen and gives you all the details. And then you hit a cancel button when you're done with it. So it's really just whichever your preference is. I like just hitting the arrow because then I can hit it again and move on, and it feels quicker to me. It's up to you. All right, now I just want to show you a couple of other options here. You notice we've got this timely filing column. This is a really nice timely filing printout that it will generate for you. And it's entirely patient information, so I can't show it on the screen without blacking the whole thing out. But you just click this button here in the timely filing column, and then it generates a letter for you with the patient data, the procedure data, and the actual history from the clearinghouse of the claim transmission with the insurance acknowledgement and all of that. So it's the best you're going to get. It's very good. It gives you all the details that you need, and then you hit a generate button and it formats it into a nice letter that you can go ahead and send with the claim itself when you're doing a timely filing appeal. And then we've got some buttons over here. So the 4 dots, as I mentioned a minute ago, will open up the claim and let you look at like all of the details on the claim. And then we've got the $sign. And the $sign, these you'll notice are all paid claims. The $sign will go ahead and show you the ERA details. So when I click on that, it gives me the claim response. So here's the history of the claim, and I can see where it was paid. And then down here at the bottom, if I scroll down, it gives me the remit information. So I could see the payer, the check number, amount, date. It would give me the patient name there. I have it blanked out. And then you see these eyeglasses. When you click on the eyeglasses, it will give you a copy of the actual ERA. Obviously, that's all patient data, so I can't show you that either. But when you hit the eyeglasses, it gives you a nice copy of the ERA that you can then print out. So if you needed it for secondary or whatever else, if you need to post from it, you can get that by hitting the $sign, scroll down, and hit the eyeglasses. And that is how we manage the claim screen.